What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about SPY and Tesla and the QQQ and the indices, break down some important tickers out there like Coinbase and Aapl and Nvda, talk very briefly about the technicals, and break down what news is coming up for the markets and what we're seeing for the pre-market, and how the market may open and perform given this data so far for the day. Before breaking things down in this pre-market update, let me just mention a couple of things real quick. Firstly, I am not a financial planner. Take none of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. And finally, don't forget about the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you are guaranteed up to 10 free stocks, and any could be a free Tesla share, so check it out before they run out. Now, anyways, let's talk about the markets. What on earth is going on? Now, SPY is kind of flat in the open, but it's somewhat green. It's up about 0.12%. Once again, just a tiny bit in the green. Tesla's up pretty big. It's up over 3% for the day after the bullish news that came out involving Elon Musk being officially confirmed as not being the CEO of Twitter. And on top of that, we have the QQQ, which is a little bit green. Possibly Tesla's playing a role, and we're going to be watching Aapl too to see how it impacts us. Aapl is also very flat, a little bit red actually, a little bit more in the red, but Nvidia is green. It's trying to bounce so far. So I'm going to break down those tickers in just a couple of minutes. First, let's talk about the news. So for now, we're getting some positive news that came out. The market is saying that the futures are a little bit flat. They were kind of flat, but now they're still holding up for now. And we still have to watch for a bigger confirmed move. And I'm going to talk about which levels you're going to watch for as confirmation. Now, one thing I want to note is that the fear and greed index is at extreme greed right now. People are just buying in like crazy. They're very, very greedy. And when we see these extreme levels, this tends to be at heavy resistance. Now, this does not guarantee anything, right? The market could still try to make an attempt to keep going, but I would be very careful when at these high levels, especially trying to like buy in like crazy. This could be a good opportunity to scalp and even like swing trade it for a little bit, but primarily I think scalping has been working a lot better, at least for me. And like I said before, SPY is very close to some very, very heavy resistance, and it's becoming very sideways. So I'm just very, very careful right now. I'm just going to watch for confirmation based off the trends that come. Now, on Yahoo Finance, they're saying that the market is nearing the new bull market. This depends on how you define a bull market. And on this channel, I don't really care about that. I don't care if people are saying it's a bull market, a bear market, a kangaroo market, a koala market. It does not matter to me, because what matters is what on earth are the charts telling us? Are we about to see a break to the upside or the downside? And what confirmation is there? That's what matters so much more to me. I'm very, very careful, and I don't really care too much about all these little terms, because they tend to like shift people's emotions, and they tend to affect people's trading in ways that are not always beneficial. I try to be unbiased. There were times where I was saying the market may drop a bit. There were other times where I was telling you the market's going to pump, such as the last 2 weeks, especially on those Fridays. I told you the market's going to squeeze. Those ended up playing out. But for now, I'm telling you to just be very careful and wait for confirmation, because the market is still quite indecisive, and we're about to see a big move soon. Now, for data that's coming out, there's not much data. We have the 30-year mortgage rate coming out, which is very close to the previous report, still very high at 6.81%. The mortgage applications data came out. We are seeing a drop rate there. And finally, we had the exports and imports data. This overall is telling us that exports were very much above what the forecasts were, but a little bit lower than the previous report, but very close. However, the imports were higher than the previous report, but a little bit lower than what the forecast was. So very mixed data. The market's not really responding too much to it. If anything, SPY is just holding up. But now let's break down these levels. All right, so on SPY, it's just like what I said previously. SPY is currently at about 428.53, so just barely above support. If you're going to be watching this chart, watch 428.5 as support, and then also 428. We have some support there, but it's not extremely significant. The strongest support is 427.5. I say that because look at how we've been holding above it for the majority of yesterday, even like parts of the pre-market. 427.5 is major support. If that breaks, there's 426.78, which is where the 50 EMA happens to be. And if that breaks, 426 is a very important, very, very important support. That's going to be our confirmation for whether or not the market's going to hold up or not. Because yesterday we had a false break below, but it bounced right back up to trigger stops. If we break below 426, okay, then you're going to be watching this entire chop zone between 425 to 426. If it breaks that, right? And 426 specifically is like the more significant break. We're going to likely see a bigger rug pull. That's going to be your confirmation. So you have to watch this level carefully. There's a gap down at 423. We're going to fill that gap if 426 most likely breaks in a strong, healthy manner. Not like a little touch, a little baby touch. We're talking about something big and strong. Now, if we're bullish, if we're bullish, you're going to be watching resistance between 428.84 and then 429. The 429 zone, we have some heavy resistance. If it manages to break 429 and hold above it, then you're going to be watching the high we made previously at 429.62. If it breaks that, we're going to see 430. 430 is some very heavy resistance, so be very careful right there. If 430 breaks, there's going to be 431.5, followed by it getting closer to 432.5. So I'm going to be careful at these levels, of course. I'm going to be watching support and resistance. For a bigger break to the upside, we got to break 430. We got to break and hold it in a strong manner, and that's going to help this thing pump very hard. If we fail to do so, and we reject, you're going to be watching these support zones. 427.5 and then 426 are going to be the two major ones. There are smaller ones in between, especially like the 50 EMA, but 426 specifically is going to be confirmation of a big break to the downside if that breaks. So watch those levels on SPY very carefully. Now I'm going to transition to Tesla and many others. Tesla is just pumping right now. It's at 227, continuing to pump. It's pumping because of the confirmation that Elon Musk will not be CEO of Twitter. There's also some bullish news that came out involving Panasonic with the partnership, them producing even more batteries for Tesla. Now let's talk about these levels on Tesla. 228 is going to be resistance. You could see Tesla is fighting. I'm sorry, 229 is resistance. Sorry about that, guys. 229 is going to be the next major resistance zone for Tesla. If it breaks that, we're going to be watching 230. We have strong resistance right over there. If 230 breaks, then we have 233.13 followed by 235. Tesla could make its way up to 233 plus if it breaks and holds 230. So watch 230. That's going to be a very, very major level for Tesla. This entire 229 to 230 area is going to be very important. Now, if Tesla breaks down, if it comes down, you're going to be watching support at 227. That's going to be very specific support. If 227 flat breaks, this is the next major support that I'm talking about, then it's going to come all the way down to about 225 to 224.69. Watch that zone right over here. This was a very important area where Tesla saw major support and resistance, and lots of chop in this level. So 224.69 to 225, watch that zone very carefully. If that breaks, there's 222.74 followed by 221 basically. And if 221 fails, it's going to come all the way down back to 218. So these are support and resistance levels for now on the 1 hour time frame. There's no sign of weakness. It's a little bit overbought, so it could cool off just a little bit, but there's no major sign of weakness. It's still looking very strong in the pre-market, so be very careful. It is gapping up, and we have to watch these levels as confirmation. For now, there's no confirmation of it getting a rejection yet. It's still continuing to hold up, so that's why I'm going to watch these levels first before making any claims. It is a little overbought, so be careful on Tesla. But besides that, now let's talk about the QQQ. It's kind of green in the pre-market. It has resistance that's heavy around 355.5. If it breaks that, 356 is going to be another important level. Hold 356 in a strong manner, and this thing is going to fly to 357.5. If we don't end up getting the breakout, you're going to be watching support at 354 flat. If 354 flat breaks, that's exactly where the 50 EMA happens to be. It's going to test 353. The 353 to 354 zone, basically this entire zone, specifically 353 is going to be very important. If that breaks, this thing has a lot of downside to come, and that could be confirmation of a potential head and shoulders. Now, there's no confirmation yet, so don't really make the call. And we are about to get a bullish cross on the 1 hour, so I'm still very, very cautious. I'm still watching it range trade. Look at the last 24, 48 hours on the QQQ. It came down a bit. It's just been going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. There's just no confirmation of a break in either direction. It's just range trading. So that's why you got to watch these levels very carefully. Okay, the levels I just mentioned. Now for AMC, it's up just a little bit. It's pumping as we're getting closer to GME's earnings. NEO is red, and I consider this an opportunity. I'm very much more in favor of the bulls on NEO. It's getting a bearish cross on the PPO. Could cool off a little bit more to test the 50, but like I said before, when you zoom out, when in doubt, zoom out. On the 4-hour, there's a clear inverse head and shoulder forming on NEO, and we have these imbalances well above where it's been. There's these imbalances closer to like the 8.6 area. It's likely going to make its way up in an accumulation phase as we approach earnings. So I'm still bullish on NEO. I think NEO is going to break past $8 very, very soon and potentially make its way up to this imbalance at 8.61. For Nvda, actually Coinbase is up just a little bit after the news about the SEC. If we could hold this level right here at 53, it needs to make its way up to 54. If it breaks that, we could get closer to where the 50 is. It needs to hold 54 first. For Aapl, we're going to be watching support very close to where the 50 EMA is, which aligns with 177 point, almost 178 basically. If Aapl is basically getting very tight, if Aapl could get a bounce, this is going to help the market. We're going to be watching resistance at 180, then 182.7 after that. There's also some resistance at about 180.8. So I'm watching all of these zones. It's very tight, so we're just waiting to see how it reacts. It's going to try to bounce off the 50 EMA. Nvidia is kind of green. I told you guys that Nvidia might try to test this trend line right here, and that's what Nvidia is doing, but it has resistance closer to this 390 area. If it breaks, it could approach 395, then potentially 400, but we're not getting the breakout just yet. We're still remaining very tight, so watch that carefully on Nvidia. It's still very tight. If it breaks down, 385 and 380 are going to be very important supports, 381 specifically, followed by 377. Now it's in the middle, so watch this carefully. And with that said, thank you all for listening. Get ready for market open. The technicals are telling us that the market is still very choppy, very sideways. We're going to be watching for a big breakout depending on which level ends up breaking. And it may take a couple of days before it happens, or it could happen as soon as today. So watch your levels very carefully. All right, guys. For now, the technicals look like we're just range trading for the short term. No major developments, especially on the QQQ. Be patient and do what you have to do. And I'll see you guys later on for the next intraday update. Thank you all for listening. Have a great day. I'll see you guys in the next one, and peace out.